Good evening. This is CTV News for Thursday, August 11th. I'm Byron Scott.
And I'm Rochelle Metzger. Thank you for joining us. We begin tonight with a deadly blast that sparks a huge blaze in Montgomery County. The massive explosion and fire level a Silver Spring apartment complex. At least 2 people are dead, dozens of others injured, including 3 firefighters. And nearly 100 residents are forced to evacuate. Patricia Vallone is at the scene with more on this story.
Yo cuando sentí la explosión, yo pensé que era alguna bomba.
Wilfredo Castro says it felt like a bomb that went off before midnight in the neighboring Flower Branch apartment building. He and his wife ran outside and saw the devastation left behind after a fiery explosion in 2 adjacent buildings in the 8700 block of Piney Branch Road in Silver Spring.
Now residents say the blast was so strong that it could be felt a mile away.
Y soltó el niño porque el edificio se fue para abajo y se dejó el niño hacia adentro.
This man ran outside to assist in the rescue effort. He found one woman unable to locate her 8-year-old son. 34 people in total were injured, some seriously, and at least 5 residents are unaccounted for.
34 individuals were taken to local hospitals, including 3 firefighters who have been treated and released as of this morning. Subsequent investigation of the premises has resulted in the identification of 2 decedents located within the ruins of the building. We have not identified these victims at this time, and our efforts will continue in that area.
About 160 fire and EMS workers were on the scene of the mass casualty incident that quickly escalated to a 3-alarm fire. The blaze was brought under control around 2 in the morning. From Silver Spring, Patricia Vallone, CTV News.
No word yet on whether one of the 2 killed in that fiery explosion is the missing 8-year-old boy that Patty mentioned in her story. The incident forced the closure of Piney Branch Avenue between University Boulevard and Flower Avenue for much of the day. Investigators are working to determine the cause of that blast.
And more than half of the nearly 100 people forced to evacuate those buildings are getting help at a nearby shelter set up by the Red Cross. Denise Douglas has that side of the story.
We are here at the Long Branch Community Center that is doubling as a shelter. Inside, Red Cross workers are busy at work trying to meet the needs of those who've been displaced by this fire and explosion. Eva Romero doesn't know what, if anything, is left back at her apartment.
Estoy triste por lo que pasó.
She fights back tears and says she feels sad about the fire and explosion that rocked her unit and others at the Flower Branch Apartments here along Piney Branch Road. She was asleep when it started.
Era como las 12 o 11:50 cuando escuché como una bomba y salí a ver por la ventana y la gente gritando.
Y luego a los 5 minutos que estábamos afuera empezó las llamas. Y las personas están adentro gritando.
Both Romero and Antonio Celatan say they could see flames and hear people screaming and jumping out of windows. Romero grabbed her kids and escaped.
Agarré mis hijos y me salí para afuera.
¿Cuántos hijos tienes?
3.
She and about 60 others are at this temporary Red Cross shelter set up at the Long Branch Community Center. We found her searching through the donations for anything she might be able to use.
So we've got cots, blankets, toiletry kits, we're providing meals, we have emotional care workers, mental health workers, we have spiritual care. So we're creating an atmosphere where folks can feel safe.
For now, Romero walks away with a few items, but is still worried about tomorrow and what lies ahead. In terms of how long they'll be open here, the Red Cross spokesman we spoke to says they will be here in the coming days until they have helped everyone. Denise Douglas, CTV News.
The Red Cross is asking people not to bring donations to the community center. Instead, take them to Casa de Maryland, which has offices in both Silver Spring and Hyattsville, where they can be stored and delivered to people as they are needed.
The National Weather Service has issued a heat advisory until 8 o'clock this evening. Temperatures will hover in the upper 90s, but forecasters say with the heat index, it will feel more like 105 degrees outside. Cooling centers will be open throughout Prince George's County for those seeking relief indoors. Locations include the Baden, Cedar Heights, and Bladensburg community centers on weekdays. Facilities are also open on weekends, but residents are asked to call and confirm hours of operation. Dial 311 to get information on area locations and times.
And the U.S. Small Business Administration approves the governor's request for Ellicott City disaster relief. The governor, Larry Hogan, wrote a letter August 9th to the federal government requesting a disaster declaration for Howard County and surrounding areas. Yesterday, officials received word that low-interest loans from the SBA will be available for Ellicott City residents and businesses to help them rebuild.
Just came in, so we acted very quickly, and they acted very quickly, and we want to thank our congressional delegation. Everybody's been working together at the state and federal and local level.
And this comes after a storm ripped through the city, causing a flash flood on July 30th. Well, you are watching CTV News. I'm Byron Scott.
And I'm Rochelle Metzger.